G'day, mates. Today, I'd like to talk to you about this fella right here. This is the ZT 0022. I like to call it the ZIT though, because it's just a wee fella. Just a wee little fella. And I want to start by saying this. I like smaller knives. I do a lot of events in the corporate world, and having busting out a big huge knife, it can be a little scary. So I do like small knives that are done well. I do have a collection of little guys. This is another one of my favorites, the Impel by Benchmade, and this one was actually one of my very first knives that I ever had. This is the Chive. It's actually one of the knives that got me into collecting knives. This, obviously, blade steel aside, it's a cool little knife. I like it, and it's actually made by the same company, the Kai Corporation or whatever it is. That also makes ZT. It makes Kershaw. So, and this is another guy right here. I think this is a very popular knife in the knife community. I think pretty much everybody has one. This is the Dragonfly with ZDP 189 steel. So as you can tell, I like small knives that are done well, and you can tell I've given this knife. This knife I used to carry in my coin pocket, and as you can tell, it's just scratched and beat up, and it's had a lot of love given to it. So I like small knives that are done well, and that's why I wanted to take a look at the ZT 0022 or the ZIT right here, and so that's what I'm going to do today. This is it's a little under 4.9 inches long. So it's under 5 inches total in length. The blade length is just a wee hair, a hair under 1.9 inches. So I think it'll be legal pretty much anywhere. I think that a lot of places draw the line at 3, and some even draw the line at 2, maybe in California 2 inches. So, it'd be a legal carry pretty much anywhere. It's got this little cool clip point blade to it. Comes to this really sharp point. CPM 20 CV steel. The handle length is just a hair under 3 inches. It's 2.95 inches. Carbon fiber on one side, titanium on the other. Frame lock. Designed by a fella named Tim Gallion. That's where I'm going to go with Gallion. I think that's pretty much how you pronounce it. And if not, I do apologize, Tim. And it's made in the good old US of A, which, despite this accent, it's where I live. So that's always a win for everyone. So let's look at this blade. The blade itself is this kind of funky clip point that comes to this really sharp point. It's made of 20 CV steel, which is a super steel. I think it's I think it's a crucible maybe steel. It's sort of a step up from S35VN. So it's a cool steel. Very, very good steel. I shouldn't say it's a cool steel. It's a good steel. Very good steel. Super steel, if you will. I do like the shape of it. It does have a flat grind. The shape of the blade's nice, and the tip itself comes screaming sharp out of the box, and it makes it really good for cutting open. When I'm working, I do a lot of I cut open a lot of bags. I cut open a lot of boxes. Having to cut cardboard a lot, so it works really well for those tasks. Any one of those small tasks that you would use a knife for, it does really well at that. It does have some really nice, something I think ZT does exceptionally well is their jimping. There we go. They do a really good job with their jimping. It's rounded off enough to where it's comfortable, but it still gives you good purchase on it. So yeah, they did a good job, and you can see this really long section of jimping here. So they did a good job with that jimping. The pivot on it is a ball bearing pivot system, and it's kind of a funky looking pivot system. Usually they hollow out the tang of the blade, and they set the cage bearing inside of the blade tang itself. But this one that you can see, there's one of the bearings right there. That kind of bronze looking thing is one of the bearings. So I think maybe one side might be a bigger, larger bearing than the other. I haven't had a chance to disassemble this knife, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But yeah, it's it's kind of a funky looking thing, but it is a cool pivot system. It opens smoothly. Does have a strong detent. ZTs have very strong detents, it flies open pretty well. The flipper tab on this thing is actually pretty cool. It's not it's not huge and it's not tiny. It still is gonna maybe rub up against your phone if you. I always keep my knife in the same pocket as my wallet, so it'll do less damage to my leather wallet than it will my phone. But it's a cool tab. It kind of it goes right with this. You can see it's right in line with the shape of the top of the knife here. So you can just run your finger down, boom, you find that flipper tab. It's got good jimping on it. Like I said, the ZT does jimping really well, and flips right open. The handle on this thing is a cool handle. It's pretty standard sort of ZT, carbon fiber on one side and titanium on the other. And this is real carbon fiber too. It doesn't seem like it's that G10, the carbon fiber that some people use, where it's just basically laminated G10. It seems like it's a real thick chunk of carbon fiber, and there is you cannot move this thing at all. It is solid chunk. It's got a cool little anodized backspacer there. Pretty sure it's aluminum, and it's a cool little backspacer. It's thick enough to where it gives it enough support to where this thing's not gonna crush on you. The clip, and I want to thank ZT for doing this now. They're actually doing ambidextrous clips. Which is nice, and the way they get around that is on one side, obviously they can just go straight into the titanium, but on this side they put on the carbon fiber. They actually put two little steel inserts that are threaded out, and they just plugged right into the CF, and it gives you an ambi clip, which I definitely appreciate as a lefty, as you can tell by where the clip is. The ergos on this thing are actually pretty good for its size of it. I mean, if it's a tiny knife, and you're going to get two fingers on there with the third kind of rested up against the butt right there. But it actually, because of these choils, feels very secure in hand, especially with that jimping up there. You get a good grip on this thing, and it actually feels pretty good in hand for the size, because of those choils. Another thing ZT does exceptionally well is their hardware. Their hardware is just great. It's thick. You can see it. They're big bolts, big chunky screws. And the hardware on it's really good. I own a couple William Henrys that are beautiful knives, pocket jewelry almost. But for the price, the hardware is so soft. I've tried several times, just doing small things like changing the flipper tab, the thumb stud on it around, and you got to be really careful not to strip them out. The ZT hardware is always really, really well done, which is a great thing. The pocket clip on this thing's not bad. I hate the fact that it says zero tolerance on it. Why don't you just say ZT? Why? Because I'm a tolerant guy. I'm a very tolerant guy. I tolerate lots of things. But I just don't want people saying this thing thinking I have no tolerance when I do. It's just the company that made this knife. Just put ZT on there, guys. I mean, or just nothing. But if you got to put your brand on there, just put ZT. I don't know why I have to spell out the name, but it actually is. The clip itself works really well, besides the fact that it suggests that you have no tolerance. It fits well in the pocket. You got about that much showing, which is nice because it gives you something to grab onto as you pull it out. I don't know if they make a deep carry clip for this. Maybe they will one day, or you can get one from a secondary market. But this one works really well. As you can see, it comes down pretty much, 80% of the knife. So it doesn't feel like it's going to come flying out of your pocket at any time. It fits really well. You can actually, I carry this in my coin pocket, and it works well there as well. The lock bar itself is, as ZT does with most of their knives, or all of them, is they put these stainless steel inserts in there. We all know about stainless steel lock bar inserts. They also have an over travel stop so that you can't push the lock bar too far this way, which is nice. You're not going to damage the lock bar. And I think it's really well done. I think ZT, when they say there's zero tolerance, there is zero tolerance. This thing is just solid on lockup. There's zero movement in it, and it just feels really solid in hand, especially for the size. All right, guys. Now let's get into the dislikes that I have for this knife. And there's not many, and they're kind of nitpicks, and then there's one kind of big one. The size of the knife, because it's just a small fella, and the strength of the detent make this thing a bit hard to get used to flipping. Now, I'm a lefty, so I can put my thumb right on the side of this lock bar and even pinch the top right here, and I have no problem flipping this open. Where I really struggled flipping this thing open, and it may be because I put the clip on the for lefty carry, is flipping it open with my right hand, and it's a pain in the ass. Because your fingers want to hold it and push down on that lock bar, which then pushes the detent into the blade, which makes it a pain in the ass to open. Now, I actually, as you can see, cut my hand open because I was trying to hold the knife, and my thumb went down. The meat of my hand went in there and freaking got just sliced by that point. Because like I said, it's just a little bastard of a sharp point. And it cut my hand. You can see it cut my hand just because obviously, probably because I'm not the smartest guy in the world and should have known better. I own a lot of knives. I should have known how to hold it a little better. But still, be careful, guys. Buyer beware. Also, when I got this thing, man, I don't know if it's because of the thickness of the stock. As you can tell, the stock of this blade, for how small it is just it's a thick little chunk of 20 CV. But it just wasn't very sharp, which is not what I'm used to with zero tolerance. The tip was really sharp, but the blade itself, I mean, usually when you get a ZT out of the box, they're just, razor sharp. Oh, that's been my experience anyway. And this one just wasn't very sharp. A quick run over a sharp maker or some ceramic sticks fixes that pretty quick. But you shouldn't have to do that when you pay $200 for a knife. And that's what my last gripe with this knife is. It costs $200. And look, guys, I appreciate American-made stuff, and I support American companies wherever I can. And, I buy American-made when I can and support American companies. And I understand why stuff from American-made companies costs more, because we don't pay our employees in shoelaces and make them work 80 hours a week for 2 bowls of rice. I get it. But $200 for this, and I know quality materials, titanium, carbon fiber, 20 CV blade. I just, for what's being offered these days for under $200, you can get the whole giant mouse ace line for under $175 and under. And for what you're getting there and for what you're getting here, I can't recommend this knife unless you've got that kind of disposable income, which I've got 2 kids, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to keep this knife. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to buy a Spidey Chef with it. Why? Because I want a Spidey Chef. But that's the kind of knife you can get for $200. So I just, for me, I can't personally recommend this knife unless you want a small knife and you've got a lot of money and you don't care spending. If $200 is burning a hole in your pocket right now and you really want a little ZT, for to carry around the office, then this is a great little knife. But for $200, for what I can get for $200 on pretty much every website in the universe, I just for me, that's my biggest gripe is $200. I bring it down. Even $150. This one MSRP is for $150. I got it for about $100. But this is the kind of thing you're competing with at this level. And to be honest with you, I love this knife, and this is a great little knife, but this one I got for $80 less. So, what can I say? That's my biggest gripe. Call me a cheap sucker, call me what you will. I love to support American-made companies, companies that hire American employees, pay them well. I get all that, and I do it as much as I can. But ZT, I'm sorry, I cannot endorse a $200 knife this size. I just can't do it. And it's not, maybe soon I'm sure they'll bring the price down on it as they do with a lot of their knives, and I hope they do, because I think this would be a great knife for $120, $140. But that's my biggest gripe with this thing, guys. And you know what? Call me a cheap sucker, call me what you will. I'm sorry, I can't do it for $200. So anyway, that's my final conclusion on this thing. It's a great knife, great for office carry. If you work in the corporate world and you need a little knife and you've got $200 just burning a hole in your pocket. A lot of people spend $200 on a night out. I get that. So if you're doing that, I would definitely suggest buying this over going out and buying a bunch of booze. But for $200 I can get so much more. And when you're looking at this ZDP 189 that you can get for under $100, it's obviously not built like that. It's got a little more give to it, but you're not doing big cutting tasks with these knives. You're not like this knife. You're not going out and processing an elk, or you're not hard using this thing. This is something you're going to be using for opening boxes and small tasks. And I could be wrong about that. And if you do hard use it, good for you, and it's probably worth your $200. But for the small tasks that you're doing, you can use a little knife like this, and it works just as well. I mean, even this in the VG10, you can get for like $50. And VG10 is a great steel. I don't care what anyone says; it's a fantastic steel. So that is my opinion, and it's just this man's opinion. You know what they say about opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink. So, there you go. I hope you like this. I hope you like this review, guys. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching my videos. I think I got like 200 views on my 4 videos, which, god dang it, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. If you like my stuff, please subscribe. And if you got any comments, I will respond to any of them. Tell me how much you hate my voice. Tell me how much I suck at this. I really, I'd love to hear what anybody has to say. And like I said, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really hope you like the one on the ZIT here. And hopefully you'll watch the next one. I think I'm going to do a review on multi-tools. I've got some really nice ply-based multi-tools that I want to do a review on. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do next. So hopefully you like this one on the ZIT. And, depending on what you thought of my opinion on it, you'll either buy one or you won't. So, I mean, that's usually the way it ends up either way. So, there you go. Thanks, guys, for watching, and hopefully you'll watch the next one. Thanks, guys.